Welcome to Hard Hats and Horizons, the podcast where we dig deep into the construction and economic development shaping the future of Dallas-Fort Worth. We bring you insights from industry leaders and visionaries who are driving growth in North Texas. From construction projects to industry trends and insights, we cover it all. So grab your hard hat and join us as we explore the people and projects shaping the skyline of DFW. Now, here is your host, Andrea Pender.
Well, we have Norma Lehman today on the podcast, and she is the founder and coach at Boundless Potential Coach. And I'm super excited you're on the show. We've had you come into the office several times, and you're on the regular schedule. So why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, so I left corporate America 2.5 years ago to do coaching full time. So what I do is my coaching practice is based in Gallup, Clifton Strengths. So I always start my clients out with understanding what their innate talents are, where their weaknesses might be. And then we work from there to talk about any challenges or goals that they might have. So I do one-on-one coaching and I do team building workshops as well.
Nice. And you've kind of found this niche market of AEC, all the construction people, because you have experience in this working with all of us. And so I think that's why you love it. And I think that's why we all have like trust in you also. So
yeah,
it's nice to have somebody who can come in and kind of speak our language here. So
and that's just it. I knew that would be my niche market when I branched out because of the credibility and the, the known factor, right? But I also see the deep need for this, in the industry.
I feel like I've had a couple guests on and we're all talking about how we're at this like cusp of change. Some of the older folks are retiring and we have new people taking over. So I feel like this is a perfect time for you to kind of be jumping in because people are wanting that and they're looking for who's going to train us.
Right.
How can we get better?
Absolutely. And I'm here for that.
Yeah. Let's talk about what are some of the like key challenges that you have had since starting your coaching business?
I think initially the first key challenge I felt was I'm an extrovert. Like I'm a maximizer extrovert. So like literally it was really hard for me to leave a team atmosphere and be on my own. Right. So I quickly learned how I needed people around me a little bit more. And so I really found enrichment through meeting with people one-on-one for coaching and doing the team workshops. So I really kind of worked through that right away. And I was like, wait a minute, there's nobody to talk to here, So that was a challenge for me. But I think on the other side, it's like if you can picture, and I have my clients do this a lot, picture your ideal day. What would that look like? And literally my ideal day is what I get to do. Nice. I get so much energy from what I do. And I'm really doing, at my pace and what I want to do and how I want to help people. And it's just really rewarding. Nice. It gives me a lot of energy.
It's nice when you finally find that, like, this is what I'm here for. I feel like you spend so many years, was it this? Is it that? And then when you find it, it's, the cliche, if you love what you do, you're not working. Obviously, we're all working, but it sure is nice.
It makes a huge world of difference. And literally why I'm so into Clifton Strengths is because 10 years ago when I took the assessment, it literally shook my world, right? It was like, oh, that's why I do the things I do. That's why I think the way I think. That's why, and even on my blind spots, that's why I kind of overdo it sometimes. That's why I'm a perfectionist maybe. So it really gave me an insight into who I really am and what drives me and what gives me energy, which is what this is all about, right? And when you have energy from what you do all day, you love what you do. And I realized for me, it was always people. No matter what position I had, it was always about the people.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
That's what it's That's what it is. Yeah.
This isn't on my question list, but I know you've been to some conferences and things like that. So are there other coaches that you can call and bounce ideas off of? Or do you have a new network of people?
Yes. I have a coaching community. It's wonderful. So I also recently went through the John Maxwell leadership course to be certified in coaching through him, training, which I got some really cool new training modalities that I can use, and then also speaking. So I'm learning how to be a keynote speaker, which is pretty cool. So that conference gives me that network of people, coaches that I can call upon. There's a Facebook group for that as well.
Nice.
The Clifton Strengths has a Facebook group, but I also have a network of local coaches that I love. When anybody wants to introduce me to a coach, I love it. I'm like, yes, the more coaches I meet, the better, because we're not really competing with each other. We're actually shoring each other up because we want everybody to be successful.
Right. Well, and there's a little bit of everything, you know? So yeah, and you team up with quite a few people at Texo events and things like that. So, and you guys can work together. So that's
Absolutely.
that's always nice.
Yeah.
What motivated you to get going in coaching?
Yeah. So for what I was doing, again, everything I did in my career, and I reinvented myself many, many times in my career. It's crazy, more so than I think a lot of people do, which kind of is cool. But every time I was in a position, for example, interior design for healthcare, for example, it was about the clients. It was about working with, unpacking what they wanted and what they needed and delivering that for them. It was more about the people than the project itself, even though I loved creating beautiful projects because I'm very creative, and that's where my, in childhood, that's what I was bent towards, is all that creativity, right? And then I went into sustainability, and it was like, okay, it's about the people, not getting into their head what really motivates them about sustainable buildings, right? It was the money, or it was the softer side, the tree hugging side. And I was loving to kind of dig into what each person, what their motivator was, and getting to that. And then I was, principal of architecture of a higher ed market sector, where it was all about the people on the team and the clients. So when I look back, what motivated me most wasn't the projects and the end result of the projects, although that was pretty rewarding. It was really the people. So when I realized that, and I was getting to the age where I was thinking about retirement, and I knew I wouldn't be able to just retire and go lay on the beach. And I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to do something really meaningful for the rest of my career. Well, what did that look like? And so I started really unpacking, what's your purpose? What are your strengths and talents? And what's the need out there? And I came to coaching.
And the need is there.
That's how I came to it.
Yeah. So. It's really interesting. And you have experience, and I feel like that's kind of what goes back to the trust level with you, is we all know you have experience in this. And then now you have this added knowledge of the strengths finders and the Maxwell. And so it's like, ooh, now she can teach us even more stuff.
It's the tools.
No, that's really interesting. Talk to us about mentorship. How has mentorship helped you throughout your career?
Yeah. It's so funny because I'm a late bloomer, I will say. Actually got married very young and worked in a dental office. My sister was the dental assistant, and she's like, come on, we need somebody at the front desk. Extrovert, people person, of course. That was great. I enjoyed that. I did that the first 5 years of our marriage, and then we started having kids, and then I stayed home with them. But my first experience with a mentor was really at that job.
Interesting.
It was, and I grew up very protected, closed, knit group, and not exposed to a whole lot of small town. I know you're a Hoosier. You're a Hoosier, so that's fun. We're both from Indiana, from a very small town, north central Indiana, outside of South Bend, Notre Dame fam. But anyway, so this was my first job. And so I come in, and she's my mentor. She's my boss. And I worked alongside her, and she was this older, remarried, divorced lady that had, blended family. And my eyes were open to this whole different world that I'd never been exposed to. But she also taught me the ins and outs of business, and not how to treat people necessarily, because I knew how to treat people, but how to be business person. Treating people. And so it was just really cool. She really inspired me to be the best I could be at my job. Nice. That was really my first mentor. Nice. And since then I've had mentors, but I think then the other one that was most profound to me was at my first job out of college, my first real job. The others were internships. I felt behind my peers where I was because I graduated undergrad at 38 as a single mom. So I started my career at that.
What made you go back to school at 38?
That's a whole nother story. No, that's fun. So as a kid, I was always creative, right? But I I wanted to be an interior designer once my parents were building a house when I was in high school. They helped let me be part of the process. I was like, I'm being an interior designer because it really fits my creative side, and I think I could do this. And I always wanted to go to school for that, but got married early, plans changed, there were other things going on. And so I really put that dream off. So when my kids went to school full time, I was able to go to school for the first time. And I started at UTA, and it took me about 7 years to get through because I was still pretending like I was a stay-at-home mom.
Right. Yeah. Well, and they probably learned a lot too, because you're having to go to, I'm assuming, probably some night classes, and it's a little different than just being 18 and going to college and that's your only job, so
There was a lot of imprints during that time for them. I mean, I can remember in our front office having all of my stuff set up because I was building models. It's in the School of Architecture.
Right.
The first 2 years are architecture classes, the second 2 are interiors. So I would be up all night building these basswood models and gluing and,
And how old are your kids at this point?
They're in middle school. So they would come or elementary school, actually. They would come in and like get to play with little pieces that were scraps. But I would put them to bed and I would continue building.
Right.
Sometimes I would build until I got them up for breakfast because I had a jury that day or something.
Wow.
So they would see me working really hard for what really mattered, and they understood it. And there was really no question that they were going to pursue something with that kind of passion, and they have. They're very cool to see.
So on your notes, don't quote me, I didn't memorize it over here, but okay. And then you got another degree. Where's it out on my notes? You got your master's degree.
My master's.
Yeah.
At 50.
That's exciting.
You're never too late. It's never too late. You're never too old. That's what I always tell people.
Where's the learner on your strengths?
It's in the top 10.
Okay.
Not top 5, but top 10.
Interesting.
Learner.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought once I got that done, I would be like, oh, I want to go to my PhD, but I was kind of done at that point.
It's a lot of work.
That was enough. But again, I see myself learning these certifications and other things. I'm constantly looking for things to learn. Like, it's really important to me.
What are some things that have been unique or surprising in your journey throughout your career or the coaching, or however you want to answer that?
I think just seeing the aha moments has been really enriching to me when I work with people and I hear them say, wow, or even some of my one-on-one clients, when I see them from, session to session, they're so different. They feel this sense of relief. They feel this confidence.
Nice.
And that has really been enriching to me to see the change in people.
When you work with these one-on-one clients, are they coming, it's probably different with everybody, or is it like a once a week? Is it a once a month? What is kind of what's your ideal?
Fully customizable.
Okay.
I have some clients. I have a client in California.
Oh, nice.
I have clients local. I have, in other states too. So obviously the ones out of state are via Zoom, and the ones local can be via Zoom, but it's always fun to meet in person.
Right.
The cadence is whatever they need it to be. Some of them need to meet once a week just to get through some things. Others are once a month or twice a month.
Nice.
So it really depends. It's all custom.
Nice. That's really nice. Let's talk about some industry trends that you are seeing. Now that you're in coaching, what are you kind of seeing along trends for what companies are wanting, maybe even compared to what you saw 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I think the thing that is so glaring to me right now in my coaching is the need for managers to be trained. People managers. So Gallup's stats are the people manager is 70% variance of the engagement of the team. So it's down to the manager.
Interesting.
If the manager isn't engaged and if they don't know how to manage people, lead people, the team suffers.
And we're never taught that. You do a good job, you get promoted,
and
then all of a sudden you have these people.
And that's the biggest need. Yes, they rightfully got promoted. They were really good at what they did. And guess what? Because they were really good, they really got a lot of energy. They loved what they were doing. Now you take them out of being the doer and they don't know how to do it. They can emulate another leader who might not be the best source of mentorship. They could just wing it. They could take it to their head and get all, like bossy about things and think, so there's a lot of problems there. And, engagement in general right now is at an all-time low. It's 31% Gallup says the workplace engagement.
Wow.
That means over half the, workforce is showing up disengaged.
Is there any why on that? What's the why?
It's the manager. But the problem is the managers have it even worse because they're stuck between, the leadership's imperatives and then the people that need to get the work done, and they're not equipped. So they're feeling a lot of stress and pressure, burnout, disengagement. And especially young managers under 35 and female managers are dropping even more. So 7% drop in engagement with female managers.
Wow.
And why do we think that is? Because the women are still bearing the burden at home.
We have to pick up the kids and do the laundry.
And they're not prepared. They're not trained how to be a coach, leader. And then the young managers too are just any male or female, they're just not equipped. My passion really right now is to train managers to be really great people managers, people leaders. And we just finished a Texo series, a program that's going to come back up in the fall. So I'm excited about that. It was awesome, really going through what does it look like to be a coach rather than a command and control boss and those kinds of things. So
that's really good. It is interesting. It's one of those things where, okay, now I have these, and then your team, everybody's not the same. Everybody has their own personality, and how you deal with one might be a little different than how you deal with the other.
It's exactly why everybody needs to know their strengths, their Clifton strengths, because then it's in black and white. We understand it. It's a common language that we can share. And we can see if you're high in consistency, you're going to want to treat everybody the same. So it's good to know that that's your bent, but you can also modify that or regulate that and really lean into treating people individually the way they need to.
We just had our mid-year review this morning, and what my next 6-month goal, which it's going to be more than 6 months, but to see now that we have a new person on the marketing team, how do the three of us, because I did all of everything to see how Coswet and I work together. Now it's like, okay, how does Coswet, Kelly and I all work together? Because I know we can look at this and how do we optimize all of it?
Exactly. Let people that do the best at something do that, right?
Yeah.
Because not only will they be more satisfied and engaged and happy, right? They'll want to do it again.
Right.
Just come in tomorrow and do it again. That's fun. Rather than sitting there churning on something that drains them.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I did StrengthsFinders what feels like a million years ago. It was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just dove in, and I know there's so many other personality and quizzes and things like that, but I just really resonated with StrengthsFinders. And so I just loved it. And I feel like the words make sense. And
well, there are so many assessments. People get confused about it all. But what I love most about Clifton Strengths is that it is so personal to you. It's not about general work styles. It's not about any of that. It's about who you are as a person. How does that come out personally in your home life, right? In your personal life? How does it come out at work?
Right.
And so I think that it really serves your entire life to know those things.
I know that this comes up at every training session we've done with you, is somebody in the room says, well, I need to get better at my bottom strength. And we're always like, no.
Yeah.
So touch on that a little bit for us.
Well, what's at the bottom? There's 34 talents listed in ranking order of intensity for every person. And they're different for every person. 1 in 33 million have the same top 5 in the same order.
Can you imagine if you met somebody like that? That'd be crazy.
There's a website you can go to find your strengths twin. And I did it. There is no strengths twin out there for me, but there are a few out there. Anyway, yes. It's funny to see people look at their 1, 2, 3, and they're like, yeah. And then they immediately go down to 34. Like, what's at the bottom? And I say, that's just how you don't naturally think, feel, and behave. It doesn't mean you don't have any of it.
Right.
But to the definition, it's not who you are made to be.
Right.
And that's okay, because there's other ways you can get to the same result. Empathy is one that shows up at the bottom for a lot of people, and they get really upset. And they're like, what, am I, a monster? And I'm like, no, you're not a monster. Here's the thing. You don't lead with empathy. You can be empathetic if they have high relator or something else. Then, okay, high relator, they really love their close-knit group of friends. Of course, you're going to be empathetic to your close group of friends.
Right.
It means that you're not the person that people come over all the time to your desk and boo-hoo about everything, and you're going to sit there and listen. It's going to really drain you. And so it's not that you don't have any of it. It's just that you can get to that same result in a different way. I call it the jelly belly theory. If you want a tropical fruit jelly belly and you don't have one, but you have an assortment of others, you get an orange, you get a mango, and you get a pineapple, and you stick them in your mouth, and all of a sudden you have tropical fruit.
I love it. That's funny.
So look at your strengths that way too. If you don't have empathy, what others can you pull from that can situationally get you there?
I know when I took the quiz a long time ago, don't quote me on this, but I feel like one of the questions is, do you like to help people? And it's timed, and I would say, well, it depends. Like, it depends. Are they my close group of friends that I want to help, or some person
Right.
that is the annoying guy that just, no,
Right.
I don't want to help
No,
you.
don't.
So it's always interesting when
Yeah.
you have a limited amount of time. What's
I
the
know.
answer? What's
Yeah.
the answer?
And a lot of people, not a lot, some people, and I always warn them when I'm sending out those codes for people to take, don't select neutral a lot. I mean, if you need to select it. But if you select a lot of neutrals in the middle, not one side or the other, you're going to not get an accurate report.
That makes sense.
But I think it takes into consideration those kinds of questions when you say neutral, because it takes into the other considerations too and says, oh, you're high relator. It's not everybody that you like. So they have their algorithm is tried and true.
No, I believe it. I think it's spot on. What are some challenges that you have had with getting the coaching going, or maybe with some of your clients that you've had? Any challenges along the way?
There hasn't really been challenges. I've heard some horror stories from other coaches that, they've had terrible clients. I've had amazing clients.
That's great. Yeah.
And maybe it's because I'm starting out, with a selective group of companies that I know people there. And, we have that I have the credibility, we have that rapport, and it's just, they're all in on it. They want me to come in and help them.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any negatives right now.
That's a good point, because I know, like, when I brought it up at the office, I know they were just kind of talking about doing some internal trainings, and I was like, we have to have her. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
when's she coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Oh, I always enjoy your team is so great.
Yeah. So you'll come back again, I think in September.
Uh-huh.
And so you'll be discussing what book are we reading? Atomic Habits.
Right.
So yeah, that's been interesting discussion so far.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it'll be really good to relate it to the strengths.
Well, I think it's so cool that you do a book club and that they're leadership books, and that anybody who cares about being a leader can join it, right? And then I love coming in and layering the Clifton strengths on top, because everybody has their name tent with their strengths out, and they all, then we try to tie those together. And I think that that's really important, because and what I love too is you guys aren't putting it on a shelf.
Right.
We did the workshop. We've got our strengths. Okay, get back to work, and we're going to think about something
They're
else.
on our name tags.
I love it. I love it. So
you'll be proud of me. I actually added in Strengths Finders conversation points for the first half
fantastic.
of the book. And so we had the question, and then how does it relate to your strengths?
See, you don't even need me.
No, I need you. We need you. We need you. Let's see. What sort of advice do you have for other listeners who may be in a similar field, or maybe just advice for people who are thinking, like, do I need coaching? What could I get out of it? So answer that. I gave you a big question.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot. But I would say some general advice would be never think it's too late to pivot, right, in your career. I've done it so many times, right? It's never too late. I went to school at 38 and 50. I started a new practice at 60. So it's never too late. Be brave. Like, one of my favorite quotes is, faith and fear are the same thing. It's believing in something you can't see. You choose which you select.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I always, that helps me to say, you know what? I'm going to choose this, because it's the same. We can't see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if we do the work, if we're curious about what really drives us, we have a good indication of the path.
That's good, because I feel like people put themselves, I'm at this age, and so therefore I can't do XYZ anymore. I recently read a book called Tough Broads.
Ooh.
And it's very interesting. And it basically was all about how at a certain age, women quit getting invited to things, or there's not organizations for a woman who's 98 who wants to go base cliff jumping, and it's like, well, why did this happen? Do you think in 20 years the 98-year-olds will be invited? We're just in this weird flux of what women are doing as hobbies. And so the author is like, I don't know, 67, and each chapter is a different lady who's doing not typical grandma types of things.
Right.
And so like there's one chapter about a woman who's like 98, she's doing base jumping, and there's another who she meets every morning for a surfing class.
98.
Don't quote me on the age, but she's like up there, and it's like, we're base jumping at 98. That sounds terrifying. And so that's brought up a lot of conversations with some of my female friends, because so many times you do get in this box of, well, you're just going to knit your quilt and babysit the grandchildren.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I think we're kind of in this different field now where we can keep doing exciting things at any age.
Well, I think again, the older we get, the more we've realized we're younger today at that age than they were 20 years ago, for example, or even 40 years ago or whatever. So I think, that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
But I think we're taking better care of ourselves.
I do too.
Might have something to do with it.
I'll send you the book link. It's pretty. It is an interesting one.
Need reliable, high-quality service for your commercial project? Choose Carrco, the most trusted contractor in commercial painting and drywall in Dallas-Fort Worth. With over 30 years of experience, Carrco delivers top-tier craftsmanship across Texas. From expert painting to seamless drywall, we handle it all, on time and on budget. Transform your space with the professionals at Carrco. Visit carrcopainting.com today. Carrco, where quality meets reliability.
What are you most passionate about with your job?
Helping people get unstuck. I literally think about that when I wake up. I really want to help teams work better together. I really want to help individuals understand their bright future, what that could be. So many one-on-one clients of mine right now are, what's next for me, right? They're like, okay, they don't necessarily want to get to the top anymore. So what does purpose and fulfillment look like now?
Right.
And it can be a lot of different things, right? And so getting up in the morning and thinking about who can I serve, who can I help today,
Nice.
really drives me. That's why I got into this.
I like that. And it's so nice that you have the opportunity to do that, because I feel like we always have these little project people along the way where you're like, man, I see so much potential in them. How can I tuck them up underneath my wing? And now you get to do that all day, every day.
I know. That's always kind of a part of my job anyway. I naturally, especially women in the industry, were naturally drawn to want me to mentor them or just coach them or meet for lunch every once in a while and bounce things off of, which I really enjoyed. And that's kind of another clue to my talents to say, this is what I need to do.
Nice.
And I am super passionate about helping women in the industry. I mean, this is there's no secret. It's a male-dominated industry, and there are external factors that we can't control. But what I try to focus on is what can we control as women in the industry. I went so far as to open another coaching practice with another coach that solely focuses on developing women within organizations. We're about to launch a community for women.
That's exciting.
For teaching, training, and a community-based group stuff. Coaching one-on-one and all kinds of stuff. So we're really into helping organizations retain great women, right? So let's get them ready for leadership if they want it. Let's develop their skills. Let's give them confidence and all of that. So our company name is called She Chooses Fierce.
Ooh, I like that.
And that says it all, really.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So at the next Ladies in CRE networking, you know how I always have a question. So no August meeting, but this would be in September. The question that I want to ask is, what sort of training do you need? And so I'm curious what the answers will be. And I think I'll send an email beforehand so they can kind of be percolating on that. But
and then I'll pass my cards out.
And so I know that there's so many organizations and you and other resources that, like, what training do we need? So I think that would be a valid.
Right.
I kind of just want to take the pulse. What kind of training do you need to learn public speaking? Do you need to learn?
Right.
What do you need?
Right. And EXO has a great class coming up. What is it? Toastmasters. I had forgotten what it was called.
Yeah.
I signed up to do that too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think, brush them up.
That'll be really good.
Yeah.
So we've been hosting a Toastmasters class here for probably through Texo, but we've hosted it here. And so each rotation, I've had 3 or 4 Carrco people go through the program. Right. And then now Texo is launching like its own club, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
So, and I have not been a part of it. And so I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to like go and get out of the comfort zone. And I feel like I can talk for hours, but if you make me come up with a topic that I just draw out of a basket,
Right.
that's a completely different
Yeah.
ball
It
game.
will definitely be out of my comfort zone as well. But I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like for me too, if I'm not pushed beyond where it's comfortable, I don't really grow.
Let's get
It's
out
always
of the
been
comfort
like
zone.
that for me. And I always feel like I'm out, I'm in over my head.
But it's fun.
It's fun. It's a challenge.
Let's see here. What are some of your future goals?
Well, I want to really dig into more of the Maxwell leadership tools.
Nice.
There's so much. I mean, John Maxwell has written over 50 books. So I really want to learn more about those and read them all and start doing masterminds on those and doing some fun things.
Nice.
I really want to learn more about neuroscience. I think
Ooh.
I'm fascinated by, the thoughts and the experiences that we have really create these neural pathways that we can recreate. We can change those. And I'm really interested in that whole subject matter.
Give a quick example.
For example, if you continually tell yourself you're not good enough, I can't do that. Those are neural pathways being kind of, I think of it as like a ditch in your brain.
Yep.
And you can actually smooth off the edges of that ditch and create a new neural pathway that says I am good enough.
Nice.
But you have to do the work. And that's going to be part of the work I do with my clients but I really want to understand more about it because
That's interesting. Years ago, I went through a yoga teacher training program and there was like the I am statements.
Yep.
And so that was like our homework for a month where you just had to do these I am statement. And it's so funny because you would kind of go at it as the opposite of the saying I am, and then you would like scribble it and they're like, no, why am I saying it the opposite way? Say I am, not I hope to be a leader.
Right.
I want to be a leader.
No.
I am a leader.
Yes.
And so that was an interesting thing just in one of my yoga classes.
And that's all part of the neural
Mhm.
pathways.
Yeah. That's interesting. Let's see. Okay, so some personal stuff.
Okay.
What are some of your hobbies outside of work?
Outside of work, well, I have 2 amazing adult children and 4 grandchildren.
Uh-huh.
So I love to hang with my grandchildren.
Is everybody local?
They're all local.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And so they're getting older, so it's not the same, but we're hanging out now more than I'm playing with them and entertaining them. So we're hanging out, which is fun. And so I love to spend time with my family. I've got a great circle of friends. So we do a lot of fun things, including wine trips, things like that. So I love wine. I love to cook. So I'm always trying new recipes and so forth.
What's your favorite recipe?
My kids would say my homemade chicken and dumplings are their favorite. Yeah. I wouldn't say that's my favorite, but I have a salmon packet dish that I love. It's all in one packet of foil.
Nice.
It's got the green beans and the salmon and the pesto and the tomatoes, and you just bake it or grill it.
Easy peasy.
And you just throw away the foil and you're done with dishes.
Clean up. Nice. My grandmother made a chicken and dumplings, and my sister was dead set. She's going to learn how to make this recipe. And so she went over, and then my grandma's just a shake of this and a tit.
Gosh.
And she was like, slow down. Like, and she was like, I don't know. I shake the shaker. Well, that's like, help me out here. And so I think my sister spent a couple years like trying to figure out how to do this, and she can now make it. But there was no recipe.
Yeah, that's how it was back then.
Written down.
I like recipes. I like to follow instructions and I like to get the right amount.
Yeah, I kind of gave up on recipes a few years ago. And so now I'm the shake it and I'm like, what happened? Because that was not how I used to follow a recipe to the T. Even if I knew I didn't love this spice or whatever it says, put it in there. And now I throw stuff in and off we go.
Yeah.
So it is like stir fries are easy. Like
Stir fries
I like a stir fry. You shake a few things, season it, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you have a defining moment or a philosophy that you live by?
I think the defining moment might have been when I discovered who I was meant to be, right? With the gifts and strengths and some other purpose work I did at the same time through church and things. That all was at the same time. But I think my philosophy, and I heard this, I think the great philosopher Troy Aikman said, he said, things aren't as good as you think they are, and they're not as bad as you think they are. And that really helps me go, get over it, get back on the horse, let's go. Celebrate the wins, but move on. Like, don't stay there too long either.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Who or what inspires you the most?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I was trying to think of like these grand people, but I will honestly say to you, it's my daughter, Jennifer.
Nice.
No, and I only say that not to be kind of squishy, but literally she's an amazing woman that I can't believe came from me. I mean, I did okay, I guess, raising her, but she is a mom of four. She is a nurse. She homeschools all four, and she has, the oldest is 15 now, about ready to.
She's
to
a busy
drive.
lady.
So she's been doing this for a long time.
Wow.
She builds desks and tables and she reupholsters furniture and she's constantly cooking and baking. Like she's got so much energy. I don't even know where it comes from. She always has this sweet attitude about it, you know, and it's like she's really living in her purpose. And I really like to see that.
That's nice. It's nice to see that.
Yeah.
A lot, you don't see that
Yeah.
genuinely, and a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. It's really cool to see your kids grow up, especially a lot of it was single parent raising, you know, which was hard. Just really is fruitful to see your kids grow up to be like normal functioning adults, you know, and my son is just as, you know, successful with his band, traveling the world.
That's cool.
And so, you know, they're both doing what they love to do. You know, mom can't be happier than that.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's really good. Okay, so I have a quick fire round of questions, which are never quick fire because I just want to, I ask too many questions.
You have follow-up questions?
I have follow-ups to the quick fire round.
Okay.
I need to read.
So I need to be quick and you don't.
Oh, what's the last book that you read?
My last book was Mel Robbins' Let Them.
Interesting.
Wow. That was really good for me. I am such a people pleaser and I've gotten better over the years, but really just saying, don't let other people's drama or decisions affect you.
Yeah.
Let them. Let them do what they want to do and then let me make my own choices.
Yep.
And that's really been freeing. And in fact, I've shared it with family members. I've shared it with friends. And it's funny because when we talk about a situation, we both look at each other and go, let them.
Yeah, let go. It is what it is.
So that was a really good book for me.
She has a lot of good information, and I feel like there's always little good nuggets here or there to kind of take and digest a little bit more.
Yeah. And she has a unique like style. So I listened to the audiobook. So it was her.
I did too.
Yeah. So she comes off kind of really strong and abrasive at first. If you get through that first little section, I mean, she's just a
especially if you're a people pleaser.
Yes.
You'd be like, I don't know.
Yes. So give it some time, but I think it's a great read. It really is.
It is. Everybody needs that skill set.
Exactly.
Let's see. What is a skill you would like to learn?
A skill. I think the neuroscience stuff, but I think a tactical one is I used to have a garden. I'm in a high rise now, or high rise right now, so I don't have a garden area, but there's community gardens around. I helped design one years ago downtown in Deep Ellum. So I'm going to check it out and see if maybe I can start a little garden.
Nice. My aunt and uncle, they just moved, but the community that they lived in, it was a little like half-mile walk from their house. And they got their little plot and they were always doing stuff in their little section of the garden. It was so cool is my aunt's like the queen of fancy food and entertaining and all of that kind of thing. And I remember this has been years ago and she put together this beautiful like bouquet. And I was like, there was no flowers in it. And she was like, oh, it was basically like the weeds that she had picked out and put it together. And I was like, that was so beautiful. And otherwise it would have just gone in the compost pile. So whenever I think about community garden, I think about all of the fresh veggies, and then the bouquet.
What's left? Yeah.
The bouquet that she put together. What's the favorite city you have visited?
My all-time favorite is Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it was a long time ago. I turned 16. I had my birthday in Tokyo.
How cool. That's really neat.
I stayed there for 2 months with a family friend of my mom and dad. And we went on the bullet train, went to Kyoto, went to Mount Fuji. We did all the stuff.
Was this like a foreign exchange or summer vacation?
No, it was just a personal. My dad and this Japanese man had become friends when he was on R&R during the Korean War. He went to Japan and he met this gentleman in a little shop he was running. And the gentleman invited him home to dinner with his family that night. And they became fast friends. And neither one of them were married at the time. I said, well, we get married and have kids, let's exchange them so they can understand the culture of
my gosh.
and live like you live there, right?
That's
it's not
awesome.
like a vacation. It's really like a day in, a day out kind of thing. And it was so
Let's exchange them.
It was so fun.
That's super
So I got to go. My mom and dad had 3 girls. We each went over separately on our own.
How neat.
It was my first airplane trip.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All by yourself too?
All by myself.
Whoa.
I can remember thinking when we were about to land in Narita, I was thinking, I wonder if they'll be there and I wonder if they'll recognize me. Otherwise, what do I do? There were no cell phones. Like, I don't know.
But they found you.
They found
You
me.
had a great. Will and I went to Tokyo in like November of like 2019.
Oh.
So right before the shutdown of everything, it was the cleanest city.
Yeah.
You could eat off the ground. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'll never forget just how clean, how organized
Yep.
everything was. Like on the escalators,
Mhm.
everybody, they weren't lounging around and
Yeah.
in people's, they were trained.
Discipline.
Yes.
It's clean. Like you said, it's safe. They literally look up to Americans. So they were enamored by me. And when I went, I thought I had black hair. But when I went, it's like, oh no, my hair's brown. Their hair is so dark black. And when I came back, I was like, I don't have black hair.
Yes, you do. No, really, I don't.
It's so funny. The little things like our home corridor going, from the garage to the kitchen, right, was so long. I'm like, this is a waste of space right here, because the little apartment we lived in Tokyo, the high rise, was a teeny tiny 3-bed, like 3-room situation where they rolled out the tatami mat.
Yes.
And there was no waste.
Yeah, I
At
know.
all.
I know when we looked at there's always like the real estate offices anytime you're on vacation. And so you have to walk and read the things. And I remember that the places were advertised as 16 tatami mats. It wasn't square footage. So then I'm like, how big's a tatami mat? And it's like slightly larger than a yoga mat. And then I'm like, they would die if they saw that our houses in Texas were 5,000 square feet.
Even the corridor at my house was like nauseating to me after I came back. I'm like, this is a waste.
Yeah. No, I think it's funny because Will went over for a work trip and I said, well, I want to join you. And he goes, I didn't know you wanted to go to Tokyo. And I said, well, it's not on my list, like top place I want to visit, but if you're going to be there, I definitely want to explore it. And so I flew over all by myself too.
Okay.
And so
A little older than I was.
I was a grown up. But yeah, we did the bullet train and all
It's
that
so
was
fun.
it is. And then you come home and you're like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if we have public transit here and so many things. That's cool.
So many.
And we were there right before the Olympics. And so we actually saw where all the Olympics were getting built, which then no one could go to because the whole world was shut down. And so I was like, oh, we were there. Like we saw it as it was being constructed. So that was kind of just
That's a
cool little,
moment. Yeah.
yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. And Tokyo, Japan in general is just amazing. My son's band tours the world, right? And they've been to Japan several times. And that's literally my son's favorite stop of all the countries in the world that he's been to.
Interesting.
So it's a cool place.
Yeah.
Everybody should go.
I think so too. It doesn't need to be on your list, but you need to go if you have the opportunity.
You need to go.
Yeah, I like this exchange the kids
Yeah.
situation too.
It's
That's
pretty cool.
It's fun.
Yeah.
What's your favorite construction project that you have been a part of?
Hands down, easy question. Yeah. It was one of my last ones at my last job, and it was Dallas College.
Okay.
For Dallas College, and it's called the Capel Center Construction Sciences Building.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. I love it.
It is such a cool project, and I go into it all the time now for different training. I was just in there last week for a training session, and literally to see the way it's being used and it's just holding up. It's looking great. It's really a machine for learning. It's showing that, the trades are learning there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's showing things are exposed in the building to show them what they're actually learning about.
That's cool.
Right. And here's how it moves through the building.
That's neat.
So I really love that. I love to go back there and see how great it looks, how well it's being used.
That's cool.
It's training our future professionals.
It is 100%. So kind of switching gears on your notes here, I know you're a big proponent of Be Pro, Be Proud. So talk to us about this a little bit.
Yeah, so Be Pro, Be Proud is exactly what we were just talking about at the health center.
Mm-hmm.
Those are typically adults or CTA students, CTE students going there to learn the trades, right? But that's fine if they know that these careers exist. The Be Pro, Be Proud initiative is really raising awareness to students and even adults to reskill them, but mostly students, middle school and high school. It's teaching them that there are careers of first choice in the technical careers, the skilled trades, right? So it's a 78-foot regular tractor trailer, semi. And it's outfitted with AR, VR, and on hands-on materials. And it goes around almost every day of the school year to these high schools and middle schools. And kids come out by the classes and they go through this and they experience what it's like. They put on the VR and they have some hands-on stuff and they experience what it does it look like to be a welder. What does it look like to be a carpenter or a truck driver? And so it has all these sims, up to 12 simulation stations in there. And they get so excited. They're like, I didn't realize that this was going to be a career that I could choose.
It's so cool
Yeah.
because they obviously didn't have that when I was in school.
No.
And I feel like we've also gone through this weird wave of it wasn't the push 20 years ago. Like the push 20 years ago was go to college. You have to go to college. And now we're seeing all those kids went to college and now
And they're stuck with all that debt and they're not really even doing what they went to school for. But the recent studies have shown, and I just looked this up the other day because I gave a presentation on it, half of the counselors and half of the students say the counselors would consider sharing the information to the students, but they don't have enough information. The students would consider the careers, but they don't have enough information. Plus, they are also have societal pressure to go to college, right? And so this really takes a load off of that. This brings it to the students. You don't have to get on a bus and go to this career fair type thing. It brings it right to the schools. They come out for free and they experience what it would be like to be any of these 12 professions. And then at that point, they can say, hey, I want to join the movement, which means they give us their information. They say, hey, I was on the welding the simulator, and I think I want to be a welder. Then we connect them with education partners
That's cool.
Provide that. And then we connect them with actually employers who are looking for them.
Right. And it's so interesting because I loved every second of Purdue. Like I loved every second of it. But since being in this industry, I think back and I'm like, what if I went to welding school? Like, what if I had done, and then I always put on like the fancy hat. Like I could own the company and be a woman-owned welding company. How many of those are there? Which obviously this is the 40-plus-year-old talking about the 15-year-old talking.
Even when my kids were getting ready to go to college, there was never a discussion. It was, no. You're going to college.
I remember the discussion in my house. I was brainwashed before I was born to go to Purdue. Like that was the option. But the way that it was set up at my school, unfortunately, like it was the bad kids, like the bad kids went over there. And I sound awful saying that, but it's just like, you needed to be with the good kids. And so that was the route that you went, which I'm sure all of those people have jobs, doing whatever they went to school for. And it's like, well, they're not, it's just different. Like, and we need everyone,
It's not about the kids that aren't college material anymore. There are, they do surveys. Be Pro, Be Proud's been around since 2016. They started in Arkansas. The last one to open was earlier this year in Alabama. When they launched the day of, their schedule was full for the year and they had a 1-year waiting list. That's how in demand these are.
Wow.
Right. So we're excited to get one in North Texas. Hopefully by January, we're supposed to hopefully launch this fall. That we have a small gap in funding that we just need to close that gap and then we'll get it here.
So I think another thing too is it's that stigma of going to college versus not going to college. And I don't know. I don't know. Is the stigma still there if you're 18? Like, is it still there? Do we need it? I feel like there's a lot of people who haven't gone to college and they're very successful and they don't have $200,000 worth of college debt.
This is a pathway for them. And this raises the awareness to them that they can choose this. And it's just beautiful. I'm excited to get it in Texas.
I've mentioned this before on another podcast, but I'm curious also because for the last 20 years, we've pushed college as the only option. And I feel like that skill set of how do we use our hands to fix things, like that neuroscience, that is gone. Like it never existed. Like, oh, well, common sense says if you do this, then that's going to happen. But we don't use our hands anymore to fix those things. And I feel like there's probably a lot of people who want to have like a little project car or a project little projects around the house because they're like, I want to use this side of my brain, but I wasn't able to.
Yeah.
I was told this is the path.
Yeah, and I think the younger generations too want something different.
Mhm.
I mean, it's proven they want something different in the workplace. But as it relates to this, they like more doing DIY stuff.
Uh-huh.
They like doing things that have purpose, right? They want to do something that really lights them up. And so making them aware that these professions, and also we show them how much that profession can make.
Right.
And you mentioned it, it's a career path to entrepreneurship if that's what you want. If it isn't, it's to leadership, right? You can come out of with very little, if no debt at all, making $80,000.
I'm really curious how many leaders in our industry with kids right now going to college will push their kids towards a trade school and then help them fund said company. Because I feel like we have some savvy business people who are, their kids are at the age.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have kids, but I'm like, man, I loved every second about Purdue. Like, what would I encourage? I would probably, I don't have kids, not a mom,
Right,
but obviously encourage what the kids want to do.
Sure.
But I would probably be pushing these trades way more than college, really, if it's something they would enjoy.
Yeah, but if it's just a theory, like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what an HVAC tech does. They keep the air moving, which is great, right? We need that in Texas.
Yeah.
But to actually put on a VR and
That's cool.
experience or alignment, we have a bucket, an actual bucket you get in, and then you put VR on and you are like, I did it once and I looked ridiculous, but it was fun. But you're actually alignment up in the air,
That's cool.
It's like, okay, now I know what it would look like to be that. That's the first step, is to connect them to what it would feel like to be that. And then they see how much they might get paid and how easy it is to get the training and how employers are looking for them. And it's like a no-brainer.
No, I'm glad that you're really pushing that. And I'm glad that you mentioned it at a lot of the events, because it's one of those things that we're not aware of, but how cool is that there's AR, VR to do such a thing?
Well, meeting them where the kids are. They don't want to go to just a boring career fair anymore. They want to actually know what is it like. And it's okay. I mean, a lot of our sponsors will be meeting us on the tour stops so they can actually talk to the students then too about it. Yeah. They have more questions on what it would look like to work for them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So on your notes, you also mentioned a project that you're working on that you're hoping to complete this year. The devotional that links Clifton strengths to the teachings of the Bible. And I think that's pretty interesting.
That's a passion project of mine. I just realized there's not that. There's nothing that I think our talents are God-given. That's my worldview. And I feel like if we knew how that connects with the Word of God, it would make it even stronger. And so I had to go through legal with Gallup and everything because they have to approve it. They approve the project. And of course I have to have all the trademarks in the register, all the notations on it and everything. And I'm working through that. And I've come up with a concept I really like. It's not going to be a daily devotional anymore, but it's going to be a really cool devotional with some worksheets. So I'm excited. I'm hoping to get it done by the end of the year so that I can get it published.
No, I like that. When I read that, I was like, that's really interesting.
Yeah. They said there's nothing out there like
what he's doing in it. So that's very interesting. Well, I think we have gotten through all of our questions. I will put the link to your website, the link to your LinkedIn, all of that kind of stuff so they can find you.
Yeah.
And then
if anybody would like to help us close the gap on the Be Pro, Be Proud, we're looking for sponsors right
I'll
now.
add a link to that too.
Yeah, we can give you the Be Pro, Be Proud website, but then that's just to find out about it.
Okay.
And contact me to be a sponsor.
Perfect.
We would love that.
We'll make sure to add that into the show notes as well.
Awesome.
Well, that's it. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.